we integrate conventional, naturopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, traditional Thai medicine. We bring it all together because every one of them is useful to some degree. And so what we have learned is that it's necessary to integrate them. But the foundation of what we do, which is antithetical to what most medical doctors and scientists do, is we have a reverence and respect for nature. And nature is always our guide. And we work with nature, not against it. What cancer is a cell or a group of cells that have lost the ability to use oxygen. And once they lose the ability to use oxygen, they go into a default mode of metabolic functioning called glycolysis or fermentation. It's a natural thing that happens in all biological systems. If you run up the street and your legs start to ache, the reason they're aching is because you've exceeded your aerobic capacity and you're engaged in anaerobic. In other words, you don't have enough fuel to match the oxygen needs, and you can't get the oxygen in fast enough, so you go into fermentation or glycolysis and you start producing lactic acid, and the pain is lactic acid. And so you go, you breathe out the CO2, it equilibrates it, and you're no longer producing acid, the pain goes away. Well, with cancer, they've lost the ability they don't have those little organelles inside the cell, so they cannot go back to aerobic. So they go into a chronic state of fermentation. So if that starts in the breast and the ovary or the kidney, it doesn't matter where it starts. So basically that's the difference between these cancers. There's other differences. Basically there are carcinomas and sarcomas. That just means the embryonic origin of the tissues from where they started. But again, we're still talking about the same process. And that needs to be understood because we are under the impression that all of these are really different and they therefore require a completely different regimen to deal with them because they're really different animals, different entities, but they're not. They're cancer is cancer is cancer is cancer. Okay, it's a chronically fermenting cell that has turned on certain oncogenes to support this new metabolism. So if we understand that, then we understand that the way we treat that, the way we work with it, and I don't like to use the word treat because it implies the concept of disease. And really, I don't look at as diseases as entities that get into the body, but rather I look at the body always engaged in a homeostatic corrective response to its environment. That's what it's doing. It's not something has gotten in there. The body is maintaining its integrity with all of its equipment, all of its resources. And so, so basically, when we work with cancer of any kind, there are some basic fundamentals that we do with all of them. The big difference between the different cancers is the location. So, in a pancreatic cancer, since where it's located is sitting right in the middle of a lot of different organs, if it just grows a little bit, it's stage 4 and it's complicating other organs. And so that's why it has a much worse reputation than breast cancer, that can grow several centimeters and still be in a stage 2. So those are the real distinctions, this location and what's around it, so it's the anatomy. But the underlying physiology and biochemistry is really the same.